Hey babe, what are you doing?
Well, this next vlog I'm working on is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy in the biggest fantasy football tournament of all time, Best Ball Mania 4. I'm putting together my Best Ball Fantasy draft team.
Fantasy draft? Since when did you start playing fantasy football?
Since right now, this is really easy. It's simple. You just enter Best Ball Mania on Underdog's slick mobile app, draft your team, and that's it. It's set it and forget it as Underdog optimizes your lineup weekly to create the highest scoring one. It's Best Ball Mania 4, and it's my shot at a first place prize of $3 million. $25 to enter, $15 million in total prizes, and $3 million to first place.
Can I play?
Sure. Get signed up on UnderdogFantasy.com or via the App Store with promo code Burton, and I'll get your first deposit doubled, up to $100.
Where's Joe Montana? He's a thing, right?
That's Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Burton.
My goal was to be the best cheer program in the country.
So the plan tonight is to sit down and watch some cheer on Netflix because that Ladarius is a fool. And then do some editing and... Wait. Damn it! I don't have anything to edit. I gotta go play. I need some content. Most of the vlogs I make are just random sessions that I've decided to capture. However, sometimes I have to play because I have no footage left to edit. This is one of those times. So I head to the Bellagio and wait for a bit at an empty table before I'm called to a seat in a 5-10 no limit game. Let the vlogging begin. It doesn't take very long, approximately 2 hands, before I get mixed up with one of the few players at the table that I recognized, the Hijack. A very splashy regular, he likes his pre-flop 3-bets. I know this as I'm opening King 10 suited from an early position. I make it $30. As expected, the 3-bet comes my way when he makes it $90. And for some reason, the big blind decides to stick his head into the mix by calling. We aren't playing this game tonight. Someone that 3-bets this often is 3-betting with way too many hands, and as such, they have too many hands to be able to properly defend against a 4-bet. So we 4-bet to $300. A 4-bet of that size versus 2 players after my early position open should scream strength. Even if he has a hand like Jacks or Ace-Queen suited, he should be folding at a decent clip. However, that fold doesn't come, and apparently all his 3-bets aren't light, because the next thing I know, he's saying all in, and the dealer is throwing that red placard in front of him. The big blind folds and, yeah. Next hand, please. A few hands after that, one of the other players that I recognize is in the Hijack and is open to $40. This one isn't as splashy, but he's definitely action. He plays a lot of hands, and I mean a lot of hands, and is capable of bluffing with all of them. In this situation, I look down at pocket jacks in the small blind, and knowing this villain's propensity to open wide, I elect to 3-bet to $140 rather than just call. The big blind folds and he comes along. We're heads up. 8-10-3 with 2 hearts. 3-bet pot, out of position but holding an overpair. Pretty easy continuation here. I bet $100 and get snap called. The turn is a good one. It's the Jack of Spades. I tank for a bit on this. Honestly, mostly out of shock than anything else. I end up settling on $250 and push that forward.
$250?
The villain tanks a bit as well. Does some chip dancing, and then calls my $250 bet. The river brings the 9 of clubs, so a one-liner to a straight. Not a fan. Although thinking through the hand in real time, I don't think there are a ton of queens or 7s he can have. Blocking Queen Jack is nice. And there aren't many 7x combinations I would be calling my pre-flop 3-bet and then continuing through flop and turn. I check this river hoping that he sees this as weakness and bluffs at this often bluffed at type board. With action now on him and him covering me, he says all in, and I snap call. He then follows that by saying nuts as he turns over king queen suited, and I instantly realized that there was a combo that I had missed thinking about. Pre-flop 3-bet call, picked up a straight draw on the turn, and drilled the river. That makes sense. Oops. Rebuy.
Nothing's gonna bring me down. Nothing's gonna bring me
Back in action now with a fresh $1,500 in front of me, and on the very next orbit, this hand goes down. The villain from the previous hand, again in the hijack, limps, and I look down at pocket jacks once more.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
I race to $40, expecting to probably go tete-a-tete with the hijack again. Wrong. The small blind inserts himself into the middle of our pending rematch with a re-raise to $170. The hijack folds and action returns to me. I don't really know much about the small blind at this point. He seemed competent, his raise sizing a tad large, but definitely within the bounds of reasonable. There's a chance that he's playing back at me because I'm the button and he thinks maybe I was just looking to isolate the hijack. There's also a chance I'm overthinking all of this and he just has aces and I'm going to see the nice woman at the cashier's cage again soon. I call his $170. I catch another amazing flop for my particular hand when 9-6-4 with 2 clubs appears. The small blind continues as expected for $110, and although I wish I had the jack of clubs in my hand to block some of his higher equity continues, I make the call. The turn 6 of spades pairs the board and the small blind doesn't relent. $230 this time. Again, I call. The river, the jack of clubs. For the third time in 10 minutes, I'm temporarily shocked by this turn of events. The small blind now checks. It goes without saying that this card, giving me a full house, is a welcome sight. Because I'm ungrateful though, I'm disappointed that it's a club. The jack of hearts would have been better. Either way, we're going for gold, hoping that he has something like aces with the ace of clubs and doesn't believe me because I seriously doubt he'd 3-bet, bet, and then check if he had himself made a flush. I move in for around $900 and he goes into the tank for a long time before eventually folding. He would tell me later that he had pocket tens. As the session continues, I'm quickly realizing that I was right about the 8 seats VPIP. It isn't dropping at all. He's in all the hands. This is a good thing. In this next hand, the low jack opens to $20, which is abnormally small, and I find the 3-bet with Queen Jack of diamonds. I take a little off my standard sizing because his original open was so small, so I make it $70. The big blind comes along because, well, he always comes along, and the low jack gets in there too. Queen Jack 4 with 2 spades. Both the big blind and the low jack check it to me. Unless one of these two players has specifically pocket 4s, I should be pretty far ahead here. My goal now is to keep the big blind in. He's definitely calling if he has a queen, but I don't want his size so big that he folds his single paired jacks either. The flush and straight draw possibilities are a tad bit worrisome, but I'm down to gamble a bit. We will deal with those if they come in. I bet $100 the big blind snap calls and the low jack exits just as quickly. The ace of clubs hits the turn, which brings in one of the straights, and a hand leapfrogging my 2 pair is now possible. In other words, this isn't my favorite card, but the big blind checks again. Keeping in mind that even the relative nuts have now changed, I bet about half pot here, $220, and the big blind begins his little chip dance, peeks back at his cards one last time, and folds.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I know nothing's gonna bring me down.
Dead, and then it's like, well, I got to get Tyrion Lannister with the scar too. Like I to go with the regular one. It's like, I got to get Daenerys in the gold dress. I got the red dress one. Then it's just like it's fucking crazy.
So back to poker. Things aren't going badly. I mean, I got stacks, so they aren't going great, but we're slowly rebuilding. And this one, the under the gun player limps, as does the low jack, and the cutoff makes it $60 to go. I know that the cutoff with 2 limpers in front of them is incentivized to raise a ton of hands, and I also know that King Jack suited in the small blind likes to re-raise the cutoff for this reason. I make it $200 to go. Both limpers fold, and the cutoff takes a while with it, and calls. His response, calling and not 4-betting, in theory, removes some hands from his range. Hands like aces and kings, probably gone. Some of his kings are discounted due to removal, same with him holding pocket jacks. So what's left? A smattering of hands with queens, some pairs like 10s, 9s, maybe 8s, maybe a couple ace X type hands, that kind of thing. When the flop comes with 2 queens and a 9 and a spade, I'm not upset at all. Now the probability that he's holding something like ace queen suited drops, and I picked up a gut shot and backdoor flush draw. No need to really go big here. I make it $70, and again he calls. I don't pick up any additional equity on the turn 4 of diamonds, which is unfortunate. I check. He doesn't really gain much if he bets a hand like 10s here. He checks. The river ace of diamonds isn't bad. I still have a ton of hands that have aces in them, and I can credibly rep ace jack, ace 5, ace 4 suited. So I have to bet. Not to mention that I'm only holding king high. I obviously don't expect him to fold a queen or even an ace, but a bet here might get him off 10s. Again, for what I'm trying to accomplish, I don't have to go gigantic. I make it $160. He doesn't take long with this one. Double checks his cards, drops $20 in the middle to signify a call, and obviously beat. I muck my hand. We tried though.
But I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it's definitely a viable, like if you care about like those analytics, yeah, it's definitely a viable strategy is that you buy a portion of your subscriber base, which then gives you like social proof.
Yeah, I'm just naive to think that it's all legit and you know, organic.
I think some people like look down on it, and then like there's people like me that I couldn't even tell you how many subscribers I have. I'd never look at any of the metrics at all.
I'm just
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I just
100%.
give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'm naive on that,
But no, a lot of people really get off on like those, like what they're called like vanity metrics, like how many subs and views and likes. And just like, She asked me this question last night. All right, let's say hypothetically, you find yourself in an airplane. The airplane's in the air, autopilot's on, it's cruising at whatever cruising altitude is, right? But you have to land the plane. Can you land the plane?
Yes.
See, that's what I said. I said yes.
This isn't even close.
Yeah. I said yes. Her and her sisters, said no.
Is it easy to land a plane?
You can
autopilot?
Well, okay, so
ATC, right?
Yeah. What you do?
Air traffic control, right?
Yeah.
And then
And they were like, "Do you know how hard it is to land a plane?" I was like, "I think I can do it." Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
you're doing it blind, like you were saying that you can't.
Right, and it's not like it's going down and everybody's panicking. Like, oh, you just have to land the plane.
You're just saying.
Then her and her sister's next question is, all right, do you think you could score a point off of Serena Williams?
no, absolutely not.
No,
Absolutely not.
Right now, or with training?
Right now.
No.
Yeah,
Right now.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
You can't- no.
Absolutely not. I don't even know if I could return her serve. I don't even.
Wait. Does she have to, like, are we talking, like, can you be, like, go to a bar or something?
No.
Give her a few shots? Like,
That's funny.
Because then maybe. But,
I would still snap it down.
yeah, I would still bet against myself on
no.
this.
That is
But,
a snap no for me. Even without the knee issues, that is a snap for me.
yeah, it's not even close. But playing, though, there's a YouTube video of someone doing that, where they, someone else, like, like you're in a simulator, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, here, you're in a simulator, here's a plane, landed, right?
Right.
And, like, yeah, I mean, it's very easy because you just turn on autopilot and you just say, okay, well, if there is a problem at the very end of autopilot, like, well, all you have to do is just flip the plane back up and we come around and try again.
Yeah, I think in like a realistic scenario where like I have to do this and I can talk to people and I can do that, like, I'd be able to do it in that case.
Yeah, if you told me...
So today we're going to do a mid-session update. We're going to make it very quick because my game is very good. I have a player at my table that is playing almost every hand. Same player stacked me when I had a set of jacks. And then a couple hands later, I won some of that money back when I rivered a full house with jacks. But all that being said, we got to get back in there. The game is good. Hopefully it'll stay good. And the plan earlier was to head to the Encore tonight. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to leave here, the Bellagio. So stay tuned. Back from the mid-session update, and I'm happy to see that the table is just as lively and that the action is still flowing. Here I opened from the under the gun 2 spot to $30 with a pretty decent starting hand. Well, as far as starting hands go. Pocket aces. I already know that the small blind, the 8 seat, is calling. I mean, that's a given. He does, and we head to the flop, heads up. Immediately I see the window card, and it's a good one, the ace of spades. So if you're counting at home, I've had jacks twice, made top set, and a full house with those. Now I've picked up aces and made at least top set with this one. I'm running good. The rest of the flop, though, not too exciting. The 3 and 7 of spades. This monotone board, I'm typically not putting a lot of money in at all. We keep it standard. Even with this opponent in his wider than normal range, we go quarter pot. He calls. Dreams are dashed when the deuce of spades hits the turn. He checks, and I'm very likely dead to the board pairing, so I check it back. The river jack of clubs isn't what I was longing for at all, and now the small blind leads for $50. I'm running bad. Fold. Okay, let's just get right into this one. Low jack open to $40. Myself in the hijack, I 3-bet to $120 with ace jack of diamonds in the big blind calls. If you're surprised by this, well then you just haven't been paying attention. The low jack folds at Mach speed. Heads up. Again. Ace 10 ace with 2 hearts. Okay. I'm running good again. Another flop I can sink my teeth into. The big blind checks and I continue for $60 with basically the nuts. Unless he has 10s. And assuming that big blind would 4-bet with ace king and ace queen suited. Big assumption, but come on. I can't lose every 3-bet pot to this guy, right? Wait, what's he doing? Is he going to check raise me? Yep, he sure is. He check raises to $260. What in the world? I guess I just have to call and hope the board pairs and he doesn't hit his kicker because he's got to have the last turn. Ace of spades. Well. What do we have here? The big blind chooses not to continue with his ruse.
Your ruse, your cunning attempt to trick me.
He checks. Will a bet here accomplish anything? I guess I might lose value from a 10 or jacks, maybe. I decide the better route is a ruse of my own. I check it back, praying he fires the river. Well, the river 5 of clubs isn't going to change anything. The big blind quickly checks and I bet $330 looking to get value from a 10. No such luck. He picks up his cards and tosses king queen of hearts face up into the muck.
Deuces.
Thank you.
I said deuces. No? Just bad read?
Better than deuces.
Look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. I'm taking what I'm giving. Just look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. Taking what I'm giving. Just look at how I'm living. My world is fancy free. Wake up in the morning, living a dream. I stand up on the wall, head held high, I'm walking tall. Call me a seventh son, coup de grace, the chosen one. I sing a simple song, carries on and on and on and on and on. Look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. Yeah, I'm taking what I'm giving. Just look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. Just look at how I'm living. I'm taking what I'm giving. Just look at how I'm living.
I tried to do something to some guy the other day. Like we got it all in on the flop, and he said, "You want to run it once or twice?" And I said, "Let's run it twice, but only make the second one count."
This has been a very strange session. Down early, and since then it's been win a pot, lose a pot. Win a pot, lose a pot. I just can't get the momentum going. This hand begins with the under the gun player limping. I look down at ace queen suited on the button and action has folded around to me because the V-pipping fiend in the 8 seat is absent. I raise to $40. There are 2 players at this table that I would consider competent. One of them is in the 1 seat, he's already folded. The other is directly to my left, in the small blind. He's about to 3-bet me. He makes it $160. The limper folds. The small blind probably shouldn't be calling a lot of button raises, so the majority of his playable hands will be 3-bets. And as a response, ace queen suited is almost the top of my calling range versus the small blind. I'm not 4-betting here. I can just leverage my position. So I slide in the call and we see the flop heads up. 4 of diamonds, jack of clubs, 3 of clubs. The small blind continues for small, $80. Pretty standard. I haven't flopped a pair, but in lieu of that, I'll happily continue with 2 overcards and the nut flush draw. I block him having aces, but he's still uncapped. In other words, he can still have kings, queens, top set, etc. Me raising here and him jamming all in would be, well, we want to avoid that if we can. We call the $80. The turn pair's the jack, so we are less worried about him holding one. He continues for $240. If the small blind has 3-bet pre and bet flop and bet turn, then odds are he's going to triple this off by betting the river too. My hand is still too good to fold and not good enough to raise. We call again. The river 9 of diamonds, disappointing. Are there no aces or queens or clubs left in this deck? We were expecting the 3rd barrel to come our way, but it doesn't. Now the small blind checks and action is back on me. There's a chance that our ace high is just good here. If he had a hand like aces, kings, queens, and decided to bet the turn with them, then why not bet the river? Ace king might bet twice and give up. Tens might bet twice and give up, maybe? We settle on targeting his ace-king holdings. If we can get him to fold ace-king, that would be very nice. We fire $420. He tanks. After he folds, he tells me that he thinks I missed the flush draw. Like I said, he's competent.
No, you had to miss a flush draw when you're unhappy.
I had to miss flush draw.
Huh?
I had to miss flush draw.
Really? I almost clicked in the call with ace high. Yeah.
You had ace high? Ace queen? We chopped.
Last time I thought about turning my hand and flush
Yeah.
too. Now you might have a miss flush.
Yeah.
Ah.
At ace queen of clubs.
Nice.
Thank you.
What? He's gonna work? What?
Remember the last time I was out here? I said we were going to work it back up. You know, we were going to grind it back up.
Press hard and we get through the fire. Got the edge and we're taking it higher. Rough time now, this is our hour.
This boy talking about on the telephone, man.
Explain it
What
to
the
him.
goddamn, we know there's a telephone.
We got the power, got the power. We'll be here right now and forever. When we face any storm, any weather, our kingdom's reign is eternal. We're immortal. We got the power.
I played 11 or 12 hours today, and I left down, I don't know. Sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't mess up that many times this time. Not that many. Near perfect. Stacked once by a player whose VPIP is probably 95 plus. He's playing almost every hand. So today, we're going to do a mid-session.
I wish you'd tell me what happened, said Susanna. I don't want to talk about it.
Depuis qu'il est devenu l'ange gardien officiel des enfants, Papy Grognon